Hi, Joel.
Hey, Andrew.
How are you today?
Feeling lonely.
You feeling lonely?
Very lonely.
Why is that?
Because we have no guest.
It's okay. You got me.
That's all I need. You and my girlfriend.
What?
You and my girlfriend.
I am your girlfriend?
You and my girlfriend.
Woo!
Episode 30. He thought I said he was my girlfriend. He wishes. He just wishes and dreams. On the 1 and 2s, playing the old guitar, we have Andrew Macia. If you guys don't know his blog, check it out. It's the Medellin Buzz, MedellinBuzz.com, with the latest and greatest out of Medellin. And I do some photography every now and then. I aim my camera and I click it. I'm Joel Duncan. It's JoelDuncanPhotography.com. You can find me on the Instagrams and a bunch of other things. And I taught him everything he knows. Welcome to episode 30.
You know what it is. Thank you for watching Medellin Podcast. This is episode 30. And my name is Andrew Macia. You can find me on the Medellin Buzz, as Joel so graciously said during our intro here. Yeah. And today we are lonely, for sure.
Lonely.
I am so lonely. But not so lonely because I've got Joel here. And today we're going to be talking to Joel. Interview. It's the Joel episode. Woo!
I don't know what I'm in for right now. This is not planned. This is we had a small cancellation, not a cancellation, but an episode postponed and for tomorrow. And we decided, why not? We've got a bottle of Grey Goose. We're some classy men, and I just got a beard fade with stripes. So why not do this?
Why not do it?
Why not do it?
Yeah. Yeah, so, we're all the way to episode 30. Obviously, you guys are probably watching us on YouTube, but you can listen to us on your way to work, on the metro. Where else can they listen to us?
Or I think they can probably listen to us pre-party.
Or beating off.
I don't know about all that, but if you want, but if you want to actually,
you imagine if they can actually hear us on the metro, like the metro actually plays on the speakers, the Medellin podcast, like people will get sick to work.
Then we made it. I'm just trying to. I think who was it that mentioned somebody listening to us while they work out? If you do that, man, whoever does that, if you can listen to a full episode while you work out and you have a successful workout, we'll give you a free T-shirt.
We're just trying to be bigger than the coronavirus. But, hopefully that'll stop.
That's a hot topic.
It is
That's a hot topic, man. Yeah. I'm sniffling right now, and I'm scared.
Yeah, but
I didn't even go to Asia or Europe, and I don't know if I got it.
Yeah, but, actually, today was the first confirmed case in Colombia.
Yeah. Was that the person that came back from Italy?
Yeah. I guess they quarantined her, and who knows what's going to happen, but hopefully it doesn't spread. I got my condom on just in case.
Yeah, you should wear it on your head. One of the biggest things is we're going to this, we say it at the beginning of the episode because usually we say it at the end, but Andrew and I are setting sail. We're setting sail.
Setting sail, yeah.
We're going to do that
on
scene
a gay
from
cruise. No.
No, but you know that scene from Titanic, like this? We're going to do that. We're going to pull that off and put a photo on our Instagram, but we're going to be setting sail over to Europe. We're going to Portugal. With this Medellin shirt. We're going on the digital nomad cruise. I think this is year 5, of that cruise. And we've been invited to be part of that and to be keynote speakers about change and business and whatever else that we know.
Change and business? What the hell? It's not about change and business. We're going to talk about change and business.
I meant like spare change. Like how to make spare change. No, we're actually talking about focus. In business in general, how to make your business more successful by focusing, niching in. And we're keynote speakers apparently, and we're pretty flattered that they'd have us because we're just like two normal guys in a little living room here.
Nah, I'm not normal.
Yeah, that's true. Andrew's
I'm very
not
weird.
Normal at all.
But anyway,
yeah.
We're drinking Grey Goose today. It's in the fridge. We're just too lazy to bring it out here. But today I'm going to interview Joel, and I've got some questions for him that I think you guys will enjoy. Because, we've been doing this for 30 episodes now, but I feel like we don't really know who Joel is. We know that you're black, that you have
for sure.
You have a beard.
For sure. Tattoos.
You got some tattoos.
And I have a hat.
And you usually wear hats.
And we're gonna call out the Gaines, the Instagram the Gaines, and I think he's having 1 million follower party soon. For the gains, I think you did a meme which I found so funny because it's me textbook. It was this meme that said, hey, if you're trying to get a girl and she thinks you're ugly, here's what you do.
Right. How to fool a girl. How to fool a girl into thinking you're hot.
That you're good looking. Yeah. Get some tattoos. Get a beard. You remember the others?
Yeah, get a beard.
Wear a hat or sunglasses,
and sunglasses.
Which I wear sometimes.
Yeah, that's all four. That's four.
That's three.
No, hat, sunglasses, beard, tattoos.
Okay, yeah.
That's like textbook you.
Oh?
That's like textbook you.
That's textbook me. So I'm just trying to fool the world into thinking that I'm good looking.
No, I know. It's just obviously it's a trend, but he made it a meme, and I thought it was funny too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, no wonder I get no play on Tinder or
you have a hat.
Yeah, I got the hat.
Yeah.
I need to get
Aura's here in the audience. And if anything, you guys check out if you're in Medellin, you're looking for a
tattoo artist.
A really good tattoo artist. That's a pretty attractive woman also, so that doesn't hurt. It's Aura Duque Tattoo. We're gonna throw that up on the screen and maybe throw one or two of her images up here. So if you guys want a really good tattoo, check her out. Check out her Instagram. She's in here. And she'll help you be moderately more good looking with some tattoos.
Yeah, she just came back from Bogota, so we quarantined her back there.
We quarantined her over there because the whole and respect to the corona virus and other beer viruses, we've decided not to put beers on our table today.
Yeah. No, I'm not drinking that.
Just a glass of water.
Just in case, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Well, hey, I mean, this is sort of
30.
scary because I don't know what Andrew knows a lot of stuff about me, and hopefully is not an expose.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I think more than anything, we want to get to know you. I'm sure people would like to know your experience. You're a black guy that traveled a lot and then settled in Medellin.
Yeah.
So my first question, first, before I ask you your first question, I would like to say how I met you. I think I met you back in 2011 at the Medellin Entrepreneur Society, which was probably like our between 5th or 10th meeting. Yeah. For those of you that are part of the Medellin Entrepreneur Society group on Facebook, when it was in its infancy, we usually met at cafes and we brainstormed, networked. We even had workshops where we would present what we were good at.
Every Saturday around 2 or 3 in the afternoon at Cafe Astorga at the time.
Astorga at the time, now it's a hostel, I think, there. But yeah, we you and Joseph Lee came in, and you guys looked like fishes out of the water.
We had nothing to offer.
Yeah. Well, no, you looked like fish out of the water in Medellin.
Yeah.
As a whole, I was like, oh, these guys just got here for sure.
Yeah.
And then there was the regular retiree that would come in with his racket.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Yeah. He's trying to network, but he retired. But anyway, you guys came in and I met you guys and we didn't become friends until after that. Yeah. Well,
I'd say a good year, probably year or more, proper friends.
Yeah. And it was probably because of basketball, because we were playing basketball together and then we started to go out and partying and stuff, and we had a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
So it was so then a friendship formed, right?
Yeah.
So I guess going back to 2011, can you take us through how you got to Medellin?
Okay. So before I go into that, I'm just gonna make it really clear. I'm a black guy, right? And let's be politically correct and not politically correct here. I'm a black guy, but just to big up. My country of birth is Guyana, South America, in case you don't know, to the north of Brazil. And as a matter of fact, as much as I big up being a black guy, which I really associate with the color and the race, I'm actually half Indian or East Indian, and my mom is East Indian. And one of the funniest things about Medellin, guys, Felipe, if you can just zoom in on my nose for a second, that's the really crazy thing. Not just my new piercing that Aura gave me a little bit ago, but I've been asked, literally, I cannot count how many times that females have asked me if my nose is operated on. And
I've been there surgery. When it happened.
Yeah, and they're like, is that surgery? Is it you got your nose? I'm like, no, but it's because of my Indian background. I'm more Indian than I am black. Indian, black, and Scottish, by the way, and my last name Duncan. But anyways, fast forward now. So that's just to put the whole black guy thing in perspective and give you guys a little bit of background and big up my country of birth. But 2011, I came here and I didn't know really what I was going to be doing. I left Toronto in 2011. I used to work for a company called Rogers Wireless in telecommunications. And one of our guests who used to work with me, Reggie, they have a podcast called Pod About Nothing. Shout out to them. They started a podcast. It's going really well. They just had a great guest called Cabby, who's a very famous, now he's very big in social media in Toronto. He'll be visiting us. But I used to work in telecommunications, and I used to live in Mexico. I went back to Canada and I spent 4 years paying off a student loan of $35,000, where I gave my life to basically paying off a loan. I destroyed relationships, meaning girl-boy relationships of romance. I used to,
girl-boy relationships of romance?
I had a girl and a boy.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. It was just a relationship with a girl. And she even told me that, wow, sometimes I feel like I'm in a relationship with you and debt. I remember those words. And I really wanted to get
a relationship with you and debt.
And debt.
Okay.
Because it would be like her, but my main focus was getting rid of this debt. Why? Because my dream was to just
be
take off.
Debt-free. Yeah.
Be debt-free, not owe anyone, like not even a cent. And take off on the road and get to know places. And so in 2011, I think it was about January 2011, I decided that I'm going to get out of telecommunications, get out of this serious role. And I literally gave the company 3 months notice, which is unheard of. I'm like, in 3 months I'm leaving. And my director thought it was crazy because if people remember 2011, jobs were like a dime a dozen. People were getting laid off left, right, and center. And I was on part of a team that was about 25 people that got cut down to 3 people. I was one of 3 left, a part of this like elite team of people. And I quit. And I decided I was going to pack this backpack full of like fishing rods and because I used to do a lot of fishing, and I was going to make a documentary about fishing. My plan was to make a documentary about fishing as a way of life in Central and South America. So I packed half clothes and half fishing gear and a camera, which my sister gave me. And I packed up and decided to leave and go to just travel the world or travel South America from top to bottom. And basically ended up in Medellin. And within the first day, I knew that this is where I wanted to stay, and I didn't want to go anywhere, at least for a while. And we're talking nearly 9 years later in September.
What was that deciding factor? When you got here, what made you think like this is where I want to stay?
So I think that like coming through Central America, for those of you who are doing the backpacking thing, or if you're doing a long-term trip, you're going to go to a lot of places. Like I went to Mexico, El Salvador is the only place I didn't go to, Guatemala, Belize. And you're like, wow, this place is beautiful. Wow, what amazing blue beach. Wow, what cool people. But then, and even in Cartagena, I was like, this is pretty cool. Hot as fuck, but it's cool. And they said, hey, go to Medellin if you were celebrating your birthday. And it was in September around my birthday. And I came here. And we pulled in. And the weather was, firstly, to me, sort of like perfect. Like I felt like, wow. I was hot as shit in Cartagena. And now the weather's perfect. And the minute we walked into the hostel, which is called Tiger Hostel now, the people that were working reception, Violeta, who was on one of her past podcasts, and some others greeted me, and I was like, wow, these people are so warm, so friendly. We walked around, and within the first day, I'm like, holy shit, this place is beautiful. There's a vibe about it that I couldn't pin down. Like it was like nothing else I'd seen, and this was country 9 on my trip. And I thought like, wow, just the people are great. It seems to be a lot going on more than like Cartagena, which is just tourism. And I felt like even my like week that I'd spent in Cartagena, or a little less, I felt like in Cartagena, everybody was trying to hustle me for something. It was like, oh, buy this, or like they're trying to like get me more money. I'm like, this cab doesn't seem like the right price. And I felt like in Cartagena, it's beautiful architecture and stuff, which I'd seen throughout Central America and through Mexico and stuff. I'd seen that. But when I came here, I literally didn't, I felt like people, they weren't trying to get anything from me. They were curious, but they weren't trying to get anything from me. And then obviously you go out partying and you're like, wow, this is amazing. It's like, the first time I really appreciated reggaeton, before I never really used to like it, salsa and everything. And it's just like, it was just this feeling. And if anybody else is listening to this and you've been here and you're thinking, oh, I want to go back there, or I'm considering going there, when you touch down here And you know what it's like. You come to the airport, the ride from the airport down into the city, just how beautiful it is, the air. There's a feeling that comes over you. Like you feel this tingly feeling.
For sure.
I don't know how to describe that, but that's literally that tingly feeling that kept me week after week after week.
Right.
Stayed here.
Yeah. Well, and now when I leave, I usually feel homesick after just a few days. It's kind of weird because I never felt that before. But okay, so you came down, you realized that this was where you wanted to stay. When you were traveling Central America, obviously you didn't make it all the way down to Argentina.
No.
But you traveled through Central America.
Yep.
Being a man of color.
Yep.
How were you treated there? As opposed to how you were treated in, let's say, Toronto, where you grew up and lived?
This is quite interesting because I wrote a blog post about this years ago called, I think it was called Black Backpackers, Where in the World Are They? And that's literally the thing. And a lot of people commented on it because back in 2011, I met like from my entire trip from Mexico to here, I met about 3 maximum black travelers. 3.
Like backpackers, not just traveling.
No,
like
but
visiting,
backpackers. But even if I were out, right? Like I'm backpacking, but I still went to parties.
Right.
I still walked around town, and I would never meet somebody who's like, "Hey, I'm from L.A. or whatever." Right. Never did. And so that article sort of like connected me with some other people because I wrote that. And I'm like, "Where in the world are you? Why are you not traveling? Why are we?" And it really opened my eyes because it was like a lot of people's feedback was that, hey man, like in the U.S., and there was a lot of stuff going on in the U.S. It was like, cell phone videos started to come out of cops, beating up black people and racism still going on. Something that was really hidden before, I think cell phone cameras became more popular.
Sophisticated.
And people used to write me private messages and stuff and be like, "Yo, man, I admire you for doing this. I admire you for doing this." And I'm like, "So why?" And I'd message them like, "Why aren't you doing it?" And their thing was like, if back in the United States, the land of the free, we meaning black people felt, like I'm sort of scared. People don't really accept me for being, in many cases, I'm going to be blunt, a human being or an equal. We don't want to go to somewhere else because they're going to treat us even more like worse. Shit, right?
So, and a developing country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, if I go to another country, it's going to be worse than here. So that was a lot of people. Trust me, I've got private messages of people telling me this. It's data, it's collected. And so, but for me, traveling, I lived in Mexico prior to living here, 2004 to 2006, and it was the life-changing experience for me. It was one of the best things. I never felt so, to be quite blunt, attractive as a black male in my life than when I lived in Mexico. And I still feel more attractive in Mexico than anywhere else in my life.
Really?
Anywhere else that I go.
But just women out there prefer a black man, or
no? It's not even that. It's like, well, one, you're rare, right? And one, you're rare, and you're different. Like for example, now not so much. But if you're a white guy in many countries in the world with blonde hair and blue eyes, you are what the media portrays as beautiful. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, in most countries that don't have a lot of black folks, they think rappers, basketball players, whatever else. And that's as far as we go in most cases. And honestly, if in Mexico that's what they thought, I didn't have a problem with it because I felt sort of almost famous.
Right.
And that's what we know when we go out with or like white friends outside of Poblado here. And there's just girls like staring at them and people like, want to take photos of them in like Carnival. And these guys they're, let's say, good-looking guys. They're not ugly guys, but back in Canada, the U.S., they're like average
just normal guys. Yeah.
So it's the first time, like in Canada, I would say I'm a very, very average guy in terms of at least looks, right? But I'd never been into a place in Latin America where I ever felt like I went to a mall or a restaurant and people treated me differently in a negative sense. I never had somebody follow me around in a mall or in a store,
or a grocery store,
store, which has happened and still happens in Canada. And it happened this last summer twice, and my friends laugh about it, but it was some really crazy shit. Even like a cop that came up beside me in Canada, I'm dressed properly, hands in the pocket and looking at me and my friend, and he's white. But like just looking at us like trying to pick out gin and like sizing us up and making like really crazy comments. And then another experience like literally the same day, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I've never felt like this. Never felt like that throughout anywhere in Central America. And the only time that I ever felt in all these years, and it's been nearly 9, was me and Juan Cano, who is also like half black, half Colombian, like Spanish Colombian. We were in Bogota.
He's what we would call like cinnamon, like canelita.
Okay, yeah, so he's mixed. He's like a mixed dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you call that like a mestizo?
Yes, mestizo. That's the word I was looking for.
So that's the only time like I'd never experienced. It took me back to 2 times I've experienced sort of like, I don't want to say like
rejection,
racism and rejection. I've been in Bogota, and I like Bogota. And both times, one was at a club, which took our friend Kyle, who was in another episode, it took him back because I just said hi to a girl that was there, like just, I think I was opening a door or doing something. I can't remember what it was. And she looked at me with this disgusting look like, ugh. But I'm not going to take that as a race thing, but it's the only time in Colombia where I felt like, wow, you looked at me like I was a disgusting human being. And then we were in Zara in the Zona T, like the downtown, like the Zona Rosa of Bogota. And everybody's coming in and out, and the security guards literally stopped me and Juan Cano to give us like a pat down and to ask us everything in our bags. And we're like, what the fuck is this? And everybody's just like passing in and out. And we're like, and she did it in such a way that it was like degrading. And that was the only time that ever happened. And I've never felt like in Central America, in Colombia, in Mexico, I've had more experiences where I felt less of a human being in Canada and also the United States, but mainly in Canada because that's where I lived, than I ever have in 8 years out here.
Funny enough, the city most close to like what a foreign metropolis would be.
Yeah, would be Bogota.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the biggest disparity of wealth as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So also the biggest disparity of ignorance.
Yeah, probably.
Right. The people that have a lot of money could be very ignorant in those type of places because obviously there's a lot of money and a lot of affluence and a lot of maybe kids that were brought up and not experienced or just thinking that they're better than other people. Right.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty interesting. So what about Medellin? How do you feel being a black guy out here? And I'm not talking about women, just life in general. What's the experience like?
It's a great question, and hopefully we can cut this down into a little segment for black men and women traveling here. I have never, me and you're not even black. I mean, you're sort of, you're like Mexican black.
Just black from the waist down.
For sure, right. But we've seen over the years, me and you, we'd stop, and now it's just normal. But you remember when the first time we saw like a group of 4 black friends traveling here, we were like, holy shit.
Yeah. Now you see like 20 of them.
Yeah,
like
we'd go over, like we'd be giving daps to people coming down because we're like big up for coming out here.
Out here with your Nike slippers and white high socks and
like
basketball
style
shorts and big long t-shirts and
which
you're
is
fat
normal.
and out of shape, which is like very normal in the United States. And most of them were from like the South, like from Atlanta, the big fat guys with like beards and then like looking like basketball players. You're like, wait, they're not Colombian.
They're not Colombian. They obviously stick out like a sore thumb, and you know that they're but honestly, it was like a moment of just pride and happiness for me, because I think it also helps to open the horizons, the eyes of people. So when they meet me, it sounds really crazy, but you meet me, you'd be like, okay, you don't have a definition of a black guy. If you're a Colombian guy or a girl and you meet me and I'm the only real foreign black guy you know, I am what a foreign black guy is. But you meet another group of people, you're like, oh, that's a different type of person. That's a different, I think it helps to, open the eyes and help people to understand that black as a color or as a race doesn't
define you.
Doesn't define. And I think that, you ask being black here, one of the things is, it's not the same as being a white guy here, coming from Europe or coming from the U.S. or Canada, it's you obviously know that here in Colombia, for those coming, I have a history book which I have somewhere here so I can lend some folks. But racism in Colombia is sort of something that's Colombians will say it doesn't exist, right? But it's not bigotry like in the U.S., where people are like bigots against blacks or bigots against Indians or bigots against Chinese.
Yeah, it's systemic.
It's systemic. It's in there. It's sort of like you see it in the social structure of the country, and not in like, wow, there's a KKK faction.
Yeah, there's no need for it because they've already been systematically repressed and systematically pushed out.
Exactly.
And yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Damn it, Jason came out here and saved the fucking day. He came out here, and for those of you listening on podcast, he came out here.
I'm the one who told him to.
Yeah, well, he came out here with a gray goose, and I'm like over here dry, listening to Joel's ranting about bigotry. No, I'm just kidding.
Back to the ranting.
But it is very true because a lot of people will say that that Colombia is not very racist.
Yeah.
And if you're a Colombian listening, maybe you can identify with this.
Yeah.
I've lived in El Poblado for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And not once have I ever seen a black family that lives in El Poblado.
Exactly.
Ever.
Yeah.
I've lived in different neighborhoods in El Poblado.
Yeah.
This is where I hang out. Even when I was living out of El Poblado, I'd come in here. I'd go to clubs. Very rarely would I ever see even black people in the club.
I was the black person in the club.
You were the black person in the club.
Most of the time, ever.
Yeah. And but if you ask where are the black clubs? Can you grab that?
Yeah.
Where are the black clubs? Well, there are special black clubs.
Yep.
It's almost like segregation without it being segregation, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that was very interesting because I came from Southern California, where you saw black people. Obviously, you'd go to dinner, and there would be like a black family at the Pizza Hut or at Shakey's or wherever you were eating. But they'd be there, and obviously a lot of fucking Hispanics, or how you guys would call me, beaner, spick, or what was the other? Wetback.
Andrew's actually a really good swimmer.
I am a good swimmer, man. If I had to cross the river, I would have. Yeah. But I embraced it. I don't mind being called any of that because I love Mexican people.
And because you're a good swimmer.
And
if somebody called me a wetback, I'd be like, bro, I can't even cross a pool. Anyways.
But anyway. But when I got here, it was very interesting. And another thing is that very rarely, if you pass Estrato 3, for those of you that are listening that don't know how, I guess, income levels are measured here. In the United States, we say lower income level housing, middle class, and then upper class, right? Here you have Strato 1, 2, well, I think you even have a Strato 0. 0,
that's
1,
living
2.
under a bridge by a river.
0 is like a homeless person that doesn't even have like an ID card.
Yeah.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So in the neighborhood that we're in, which is Manila, this is a Strato 4. So I guess you could say upper middle class.
Even though it's a really nice area, it's just that the buildings are older. It's an older neighborhood.
Right, exactly. So my point is that I've never seen a mixed-race couple that is pure Colombia.
Yep.
A pure Colombian mixed-race couple that was a Strato 4 and above.
Yep, ever.
I play basketball with a lot of black guys that are Colombian black guys, and they are mixed, but they're all under a Strato 4 or below. And so I thought that dynamic was very interesting, that in the lower levels, because you're fucking poor no matter what, you mix races.
Yep.
But the upper levels, it's very rare. The only people that I've seen are the soccer players that are Colombian, like Zuniga.
And me.
You stole what I was going to say.
Yeah, Zuniga. Who else? I follow. What's his name?
The joke is, obviously not now because with James and Falcao and that. But the joke used to be that all of Selección Colombia is black.
Yeah.
I remember my dad once said that somebody asked him, where was Colombia? Where in Africa is Colombia? Because they watched the Colombian national team play, and it was all black guys.
Yeah.
And because the thing is that usually those guys, you're not wrong, by the way, with what you're saying. because the thing is that those guys come from very low income levels of living, so they tend to be the ones who like strive the most and fight the most to be good and to earn a spot and
it's
to
like in
earn
the US
money
too.
and to you know, to make a good living for their family. So that's why they end up being the most proficient players,
Right.
and that's why they're the majority in the big league.
Yeah, and it's a shame, but regardless, in my 9, almost 10 years here, and I'll ask you the question. I'll ask you to answer that. Have we seen progress in that domain?
No. The answer is no. I mean, I don't know what okay, so we can have a whole other episode on dating, which I think we will, and we'll have a few episodes, but like really, not just like not shallow, but really, really deep episodes on dating, because for a very, very long time, people, so you can understand, I was the only black guy in Poblado.
Apart from the Colombian model, what's his name?
Oh,
John.
Yeah. Other than John, who will big up, we'll throw him up on the screen. I'll give you a photo, Felipe. And he was the first black model for a very big agency here. And we'd see him every now and then. It would be like, wow, a splash of color in this milk.
He'd play ball with us. He was great.
Like a Lenny Kravitz looking guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, no, that's another guy. That guy's is a new generation.
Oh, with the afro? Yeah. No, that's a different guy. Yeah.
But John, I mean, so many times we'd go out, and I remember if we saw a Colombian black guy or stuff, we'd like actually fucking hug him. But we're like, if you go 10 minutes from here, drive out of Poblado, you go to Premium Plaza. Remember, here's the comment we always used to say. We used to go to these malls. Around here, the big malls are El Tesoro, Santa Fe, and Santa Fe. The big ones, the pretty generally big ones where everybody goes. And I'd walk around there, I'm like, holy shit, I don't see anyone like me.
Right.
So people look at me and I'm like a black guy just like walking around. Then you go over to Premium Plaza, which is literally, I'd say 5-10 minutes in taxi from here. And then you'd see like black couples and stuff, not interracial couples, maybe. But walking there, but around here, no. So for a very long time, I was the only black guy anywhere. And you know, you can feel special for a while, but then after you feel weird.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, okay, this is a little strange. It's a country whose whole soccer team's black or football team's black. How come they're no more here? And I think that it's still because there's a class system, right?
100% is. Because the funny thing is, you're saying that, and I was thinking, like I'm listening, and I'm like, I don't know if that's true, but the thing is, it is true, and I'll tell you why. Because I grew up I grew up with black friends, but even though we weren't necessarily middle to low class, I did grow up in a neighborhood that was middle to low class. And I grew up in Robledo. If you have listened before to the show, and we had Sofia, who lives in Robledo. We talk a little bit about that, and that's a very that neighborhood. It's especially a good cluster of everyone that lives in Medellin, from people with money to people with no money at all, from all quote unquote races. I know you can't see me on camera. So I grew up with a lot of black friends, and I'm used to seeing black people all the time. But, and I mentioned in that episode, there's a very famous saying that people used to say here. I don't hear it as much now because people, I think,
are more conscious.
Have conscious, exactly. And they used to say like, oh, like if something bad happened to you, they would say, eso le pasa por negro.
Yeah. O tendría que ser
So
negro.
what does that mean? What does that mean?
That happened to you because you're black. That's the literal translation. But that and it's just or like if someone like ignores you, like maybe say for example, you win something and you get ignored and you don't get your prize, and you would say lo negrearon. Like you got blackened.
Well, in English it would be blacklisted, but
something like that. Yeah. But point being is that there's still the connotation of like black is
negative.
Bad. Yeah. And the worst one, I fucking hate this one. es ese negro hijo de puta.
Yeah.
That-
Translate that.
That black motherfucker.
Right.
That black motherfucker. And not motherfucker in the fun sense like we say here.
But you know what? Everything you're saying right now, it's like you're like, I hate that one. You talk about black guys, black women in the United States. They're like, oh, that's all right. I mean, like we can live with that.
It's akin to like the N word in the States, right?
Yeah.
And because I mean, if you're a black person and you hear that here, you obviously know that you're being attacked. And again, I grew up with black friends, so for me, it's like
it's really
it's hard to make the connection between denigration and people from mixed races, because I should look up. I think I have a picture of like the friends that I grew up, the kids that I grew up with, and you'll see we were a pretty diverse group.
Mm-hmm, right.
And so I guess that helped me to not have prejudices against people, in that sense on like judging them from their skin. But when I think about it in retrospect, I find all these nuggets of fucking classism and racism.
Yeah, when you realize when
everywhere.
you're more educated later down.
And I fucking hate when local people say there's no racism in Colombia.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
What
Yeah,
the
it's pretty
fuck
bullshit.
are you
Yeah.
talking
Let
about?
me
Especially, sorry to cut you off,
no.
but especially because in relation to what you guys are talking about, if you go to a very low income neighborhood like Moravia, which is north of Medellin, it's basically all black people.
Yeah.
All.
Yeah. It's
a
like
lot
the
like
poorest neighborhood.
So I want to so we can. I'm sure you got other questions. I'll move on this. Because this has a lot to do with okay, how you're accepted by people. You're accepted by people here, black folks that want to come here and travel. I don't need to say African American because we're black. Whether I'm not African American because I was not born in the United States, I was born in South America.
Canadian American,
but I wasn't even born. I'm naturalized. But I'm going to say this: if you're a single guy or girl and you're coming here, here's my little nugget of advice. Honestly, when I was younger, I used to really like not hate, but I was not proud of this color, man, because the media and everyone else would make this seem like not good. And now people are like, if somebody goes, you're black, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I used to honestly not want to be on the beach for too long or not be wherever because I'd get too black. No, seriously, because I've been in photos where I fucking didn't even show up. And I don't even want to talk because I'm a photographer about how cameras pick up only anyways. So I hate the fact that I was the blackest in the group. And you know what? Right now, people, I would like if I could be as black as this microphone, and I'd be very, very proud of it. And that comes with time. But what I'm saying is that I have met people, for those who want to date and stuff here, I have met people. I've met women here who have said, you are my dream. Black guy, bald guy, beard. Now, even if one person says that, that's a beautiful thing. And you don't understand how beautiful that fucking feels. Because even here, I don't care where you go, there's people out there, and maybe we have a smaller subset of people to choose from on the dating spectrum. But those are the people you want, right? You want people here that'll have real conversations with you, that will look at you and be like, I like you for your black
Not only do I
skin.
like you, but I'm very attracted
to what you have. Why would you want somebody that isn't?
Right.
And just to let you know, those women, those men exist right here. And you can find them and they'll say that to your face. So if you're considering coming here, you're not going to be necessarily Brad Pitt, that's a mass market and you're going to get everyone. But there are women here, whether they're the lightest of skin, because I've dated women here that are, you would think that they're foreigner. They're like from the US or Canada or Europe because they're so white, but they're Colombian. As I've also dated folks that are on the other spectrum, really dark. So it doesn't matter if you're coming here, people will, your subset smaller, but you will be accepted and you will find people that find you attractive.
Yeah. On that note, I'm proud to be black too. Mm-hmm. Wakanda forever.
Wakanda.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah. You on 10 yet?
What?
Are you on 10 yet?
Am I on 10?
Are you on 10?
Yeah, I'm on 10.
You on 10?
Yeah, I'm on 10.
On 10 yet?
Wakanda forever, brothers.
Yeah.
And sisters.
Yeah.
And
That's some
mothers and
bullshit
brothers.
cultural
What? And dad.
appropriation right there.
Yeah, so, well...
That was a big race segment, but I think we got to get it out there.
Well, just to conclude on that is if you're white, blonde hair, and light eyes, you hit the fucking jackpot. Come out here. You will get every single
You
girl.
hit the jackpot everywhere.
And guy.
Yeah.
Girls. Come on. I've seen some girls that... how can I put this light or
Don't do it too hard.
let me be a little light.
Just
on this.
because we don't want to get shut down.
I've seen some girls that could...
They got a face for radio.
No. Not even that. But you've seen some girls out here that they're coming from the U.S. or from Europe, and you're like, that girl can bake a cake. You know she bakes cakes, and she, you know she could bake a cake. And,
all right.
And she comes out here, and you hear cat calls like down the fucking road, like a mile away.
Yeah.
If you hear that, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Don't be.
Hey, Mona.
Yeah,
Mona's good.
Mami.
Yeah.
Don't be insulted. Just look up and smile.
Yeah, and then you'll see like a beautiful Colombian girl, and she'll just walk by, and the guys are like, "Oh."
And same thing with guys.
Yeah.
We've seen some guys that I would think, in at least in my circle, we're like, "Oh, I feel so sorry for that guy."
Yeah.
We're going out tonight, and that's your ugly friend. Like, I just mean to be.
Or
your
just
ugly friend.
like your nerdy friend.
No,
that's
your
not
ugly
gonna
friend.
play.
No, your ugly friend.
Yeah.
Let's be blunt. You'd be like your ugly friend, and then you spot the person in a cafe with a beautiful woman.
That's like interested in him doing the hair thing and just like body
it's
language,
weird.
and you're like, "Oh,
it's weird." And then we got our boys here, the Colombian guys. They could never get with that girl.
Right.
Ever get with that girl.
Yeah.
So you're privileged, and use the privilege. Yeah. I'm not knocking on you because if I find that country where I have that privilege, I'm going there to hang out for a month or two and just feel what life is like.
Exactly. So, on that note, let's take a break. Boom shakalaka. That was a great.
Them come out.
Boom shakalaka.
And all the girls them come out.
Ooh, boom shakalaka.
All the girls them come out. Oh, if you want to see us, we're DJing tonight at. No, we're never DJing, and no one will ever listen to us.
DJing in my room or in the bathroom. That's all the DJing I do.
I
or on my headphones in the gym. That's the only DJing I do.
The bathroom is where you do all the scratching.
Yeah, I do all the scratching.
Scratch.
Yeah, so I mean that was an interesting segment about race, and I hope that we continue that in future podcasts. We should probably bring that up with everybody that we bring in, because
and a full fucking episode for real.
Yeah, a full episode too. So we were talking about how somebody told you that your penis smelled bad or something like that. What was that? You said something that pipi maluco.
Anyways, okay. Real quick story. So this friend of mine, he's a man of Asian descent. So I'll be politically correct. He was dating a Colombian girl.
Oh, you mean a chino?
A chino, as they would say here, and they were laying in the bed together after their escapades of sex. And he said, "Hey, so you ever dated a black guy? Blah blah blah." Here, because we always used to talk about race.
So he asked her,
"Yeah, have you ever dated a black guy?" And she said, in Spanish or in English, the translation would be, "Black guy? No way, because their penises smell." And ever since that day, every time I leave the house, I smell my penis.
Well, you should probably wash it too. But
but move on. That's a true fucking story. So I've been self-conscious about the whole smell thing. I just literally like hang an air freshener. Yeah.
All right. So, next serious question. How often do you wash your penis? No, I'm just kidding.
Once a week.
Yeah, I just like to leave a little crust on there.
If you're listening to this shit and you made it this far and you're hearing this,
but please don't play this if you're listening to it in your car.
Yeah,
and
with your
kids
child
are in there,
or your mom.
I'm gonna set this segment to like the pot about nothing, so they can make it viral.
So they'll know what's up. It's two black guys.
Up.
Pot about nothing.
Pot about nothing.
Afro Canadians. All right. Next. So what else you got for me, Andrew?
Yeah. So obviously, I think most people know that you're a photographer.
They do.
I would say so. I would say that Joel Duncan is the photographer, the Medellin photographer. And if you don't know, you should probably go to joelduncanphotography.com and check out his website and the pictures. You specialize mostly in interior photography.
Yep.
And you mentioned that your sister, gave you a camera or something like that,
Yep.
and that's how you started.
Yep.
This was, almost 10 years ago.
Yep.
And you've evolved to becoming one of the best, if not the best, interior photographers in Medellin and possibly around. I don't know. I don't follow interior photography, but I'm sure one of the better interior photographers in the world. Apart from that, what else do you do for money in Medellin?
As my girl Carla said, well, at night. No. I wish.
Yeah,
I'd walk down the
pay.
street in my gears and nobody would even stop for me. Cars would fly by faster.
I'm sure
They'd be like,
somebody
"Well,
would pay."
Somebody would pay. Somebody would pay.
But
that's
you'd
not
probably be a male. You'd probably
you got to make the cash, man. You got to do it.
You got to do it. Spread them cheeks.
You know that somebody out there is into the bad smelling penises.
Yeah. There's fetishes for everyone. Well, okay, so because I'm planning to respond to this person soon. They said that they're also a photographer. They're coming here. They don't know how to charge. The reason why it's taken me so long to respond was because I took many years of battery bruising from the world, being an interior real estate photographer, when no one gave a fuck, when no one wanted to pay me, when I had to prostitute myself, sort of literally, in order to get gigs. And I am a very pig-headed, competitive individual like you are. And when everybody said you wouldn't make it with photography and you're not going to make interior photography, people take photos with their iPhones. I just kept going. And I made a conscious decision, as you know, and something that we talk about all the time, to eliminate weddings, which I'd done 6 countries in the world at that time, models, all that stuff from my portfolio, just to be interiors and architecture. And now that the tourism boom is in and hotels are like, there's hotels, hostels, Airbnb rentals, everything's popping up. I right now do zero marketing. And the jobs just keep coming because people are like, man, I heard about you. They look at my portfolio, they look at the stories I've written. And so photography jobs keep coming. But that's one of the things that I do. And could I survive off of photography comfortably in Colombia? Yes, I could. For those of you coming in, you want to be photographers, you want to be an artist, you can survive off of stuff like that. But you have to bust your ass. And you have to really love what you do. And you've got to pass that time where people think you're crazy and they think that you're never going to make it. Whether you're a tattoo artist, they're like, oh, like Aura. I'm sure that Aura has passed that point where people are like, tattoo artist? What the fuck is that? You're not going to make any money doing that, blah, blah, blah. And then you become...
Why don't you get a real job?
Get a real job. So I chose not to get a real job. I left a real job back in Canada and photographed. And then I think it was 2015. No, I don't think. I know it was 2015. I'd known Andrew for a few years, and we were party friends.
Yeah.
Right? We were party
definitely
friends.
Party friends.
Definitely party friends. Meet up on a Friday or a Saturday. And Andrew was living in the Centro, in a shared with roommates and stuff like that. And my roommate, Dwayne, had just decided to take off and go back to the U.S.
No, wait. Hold on. No, he didn't.
He was getting married.
Fell in love.
He
fell in love and then moved in with the girl that he fell in love, which everybody fell in love with.
Yeah.
We love you, Jasmine.
We love you, Jasmine.
And they started to live together, so you were left alone forever.
No, but they left back. They went back to get married.
Yeah.
They went back to get married. And
I remember that when I moved in with you, they hadn't moved back yet. They were living. He had decided that he was going to live with her for a while in that same building, I think. Oh no,
was it Bluke's?
Yeah, in Bluke's.
But either way, my roommate that we were splitting and struggling and hustling and whatever with just took off.
Dog.
And now I'm in the 16th floor overlooking the city, like a baller that just should not be balling. You know, I'm
A
overlooking.
baller on a budget.
A baller on a budget. I'm overlooking the city. I have no money, really, but I'm still hustling, trying to do these little photography gigs. And I met Andrew, and I'm like, yo, you living in the Centro right now? That's a little fucked up to me. And Andrew's like, I love living in the Centro. It's so entertaining, right? That's what you used to say.
It's awesome.
So,
If I could have an apartment there, I would definitely have an apartment there still.
Don't go there.
Why not? What are you talking about? Don't go there.
Go there on like a day trip and come back to
No,
Colorado.
it's a great experience.
To Emiliano's. Shout out to Emiliano's.
Shout out
Mariano's.
to
Yeah, great taco stand out there. But anyways, fast forward really quick. Asked Andrew, hey, I got this room, beautiful spot, want to move? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. We did it. Boom. Started working from some glass desks in a living room with the most fucked up couch you've ever seen. It was made out of mainly wood, so you couldn't really lay down.
like wicker.
And then, yeah.
So it was serendipitous, or when he said, yes, I'll move in, were you by that point considering, oh, you know what, this guy is potentially a great business partner?
No,
There's
never.
none of that.
No.
There's none of that.
We never.
We were in desperation modes.
No, we talked about business before
Yeah.
that. Because he was doing real estate photography
And making WordPress websites.
I had been making websites, and I knew HTML from long before. But I'm by no means an expert. I had a guy in India that was helping me, and I had Evie, who's still working with us.
Me too. I had Arjun, or who had Arjun?
I had Arjun. Yeah, you had some other Indian dude.
Oh, shoot.
But yeah, Arjun, I still chat with Arjun, and he's like, yo, you come down, you can kick it with me. So we got to go to India.
I had another guy. If I remember these guys' names, man, we got to pass these guys.
Yeah,
these
shout out
contacts
to
on.
Arjun, Mandloy. But anyway, and I also had the Filipino girl, Evie,
who's still kicking
works
it
with
at $3
us.
an hour.
Yeah, she's still a great employee, helping me with stuff. And I would get clients from the U.S., and I was like, man, with your talent and my
Talent.
I guess my talent is just like to hustle, really.
Yeah.
Like that, my
Yeah, for
hustle
sure.
and heart is my
It's
talent.
sales. You
well,
sell.
Actually, shout out to Jeffrey Combs, one of my longtime mentors. A lot of you may not even know who Jeffrey Combs is, but look him up. Best book, one of the best books I've ever read was More Heart Than Talent by Jeffrey Combs. He became one of my mentors. I actually met him. He was a former meth addict as well. Not that I was a meth addict, but I do like it.
Yeah. I don't know. What the hell is that like a method of science? Anyways,
Stay on track.
But anyway, he said that you should, if you have more heart, you can beat out someone that has that talent. Because I don't have a lot of talent in many things that I do in my life, but I definitely would consider myself as having more heart, more grit, and more hard work ethic.
Yeah.
So I said, with my hard work ethic and my grit and my heart and your freaking talent and also your hard work ethic, I could see us doing something in Colombia with digital marketing.
that would be different.
That would be different. No one's offering this. No one's offering to make a website for existing hotels or even boutique hotels, because we saw the tourism boom coming on. This was like in 2011, 2015. 2014, 15.
14, 15.
We saw it coming on. We started seeing our first white girls out here, our first black guys out here traveling. And we're like, holy shit, something's happening here.
Something's happening.
Let's try to get in there. So to answer your question, it was semi-serendipitous that we met, but we never really talked about it to a point where we're going to execute something.
But because this is the other thing I was going to say is that you did have, let's call it the business savvy way of thinking when, like, you know.
I don't know if it's business. I just think that at that point, like, to be quite honest, so truth be told, I remember, and I think I mentioned this on another podcast, I remember my living situation as a man in his early 30s and Andrew's living situation as a man in his early 30s. And in my head, I thought, this is pretty fucked up, to be quite honest. Because I went over to Andrew and he's hustling. He's fucking hustling. He's hustling downtown. I remember when I visited you and we had lunch downstairs and you had that plastic table and shit flowing out of the closet. And I'll be like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. But then I have to think about myself. I had a very nice spot overlooking the city with furniture from like a farm that was given to us.
What year was this?
This is 2014.
14, yeah.
2014, not that long ago.
So after, for people that have been following us, this is after your brother came in for a while.
Yeah. And it was when my brother was here, and at that point I was making like $2,000 a month,
which is big.
Which was huge. Like imagine like $2,000 a month. Both my brother and my sister came over, and they didn't really have to pay for anything. I paid for we'd go out. I was paying because $2,000 a month here.
It's big,
and it still is. If you're making $2,000 a month,
I was going to say I don't even make.
Yeah, you're doing well, and I liked living in downtown because my expenses were super low. I had a plastic table.
Very plastic.
I literally, it was
you
like
brought it to the house when you moved in with me. I set it up.
Bro,
I'm like,
bro, I still have it.
You have it. I know that fucking plastic. I'm trying to get rid of it.
Actually, no, I gave it to our cleaning lady. But anyway, it's one of those plastic tables that you put up for a barbecue or whatever. But that's where I was working off of, and I had like a fridge in I had like the main room in that place. And for me, like coming from like humble beginnings, like I was like, man, this is the top of this shit. Yeah. I've got a master bedroom in sharing a 5-bedroom house with only one other guy, which was Glenn, and it's like a penthouse basically for me. It's like the biggest apartment I've ever lived in my life. Downstairs, I had like rock bar, restaurants, jazz bar in downtown. It's called Torres de Bombona. To me, that was like, I've made it. And then I met him, and then he brings me to his apartment. I'm like, wow, this apartment's smaller,
but you know what? Like actually, one of the conversations that sort of brought me and Andrew together, and I think like he will not remember it, and I'm not going to bring it up on this podcast. But we got, as they say, white girl wasted, and I had FIFA at the time because Dwayne, when he was on his escapades with Jasmine, left the PlayStation, and we got drunk and we just got to talking. And I'm like, I remember us sitting there, swaying around playing FIFA, and I'm like, bro, this is some fucked up shit. I'm like, I remember us having a real conversation. We were like, we gotta do things. And it was a lot of talk. And honestly, man, like I think that we were just at that point. You know what they talk about? You meet your breaking point, you meet your whatever. I remember us setting up, and we were actually pretty happy, man. You had your desk, your plastic desk. I had my bit of glass, which made me feel like, really nice because my glass top desk. But it's taking a lot to come to this point. I'm gonna cut this bit. That the reason that we focus so much on business, the reason we talk about business, reason we talk.
Before you cut that off, though, let me to my original question before you told us about your photography and everything.
Yeah.
What is it that we do? I guess you and I do now. For those of you that are interested in what we do, what do we do for money now?
Yeah. See, the reason I strayed from that is because I don't think it's that interesting. It's something that we sort of, I would say, stumble into because of a client of yours. That Andrew is, I would say, a very natural, I'd say, salesperson, get up and get it. He's like, I'm going to go out and get it. I'm going to get us some business. He does it. Every time he says it, he does it. It's the truth. And he picked up a client in the drug and alcohol addiction sector industry in the U.S. I think it was at that time maybe $1,000 or less per month. That's before costs. And he was doing like a really good job. And, I remember I'm doing my photography. We're struggling over here trying to sell marketing services to hotels and stuff. And I went back at Christmas time. I remember Andrew sent me a message. It was a very brief message. He goes, I think we should cut all the shit and just focus on white hat SEO. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. Cut everything else and let's just focus on this thing called white hat SEO, the straight and narrow way of doing search engine optimization on Google. And I think with most things with me and Andrew, how it ever works is I think about it or he thinks about it, whether it's a diet, whether it's whatever we're doing. And I'm like, all right. And there we went.
Yeah.
We got into white hat SEO, doing the real proper way of SEO. And it turns out that I don't know when it became, maybe one night we always used to work late and, we're trying to get new clients and stuff, and we're sitting there. And I don't know how, but me and Andrew got into this discussion about, like, this client is in drugs and alcohol. And I don't know, we started like nerding out about drugs and alcohol. I remember that night, and we were like talking about, oh, did you know this? Did you know that? And we literally went ahead and started to study drugs and alcohol. We really went to drugs and alcohol university. We do outlines for people to write articles. And every fucking night we'd be there. We'd be doing outlines for writers to write. We'd be like, oh, maybe you should look at this, and maybe you should look at this video. And remember, we'd watch videos. We'd watch videos.
What was that thing about the benzodiazepines and lorazepam?
Oh, yeah. If it's a benzodiazepine if it ends in Pam or lamb. And we'd have these fucking little rhymes about drugs and alcohol. and we sat there every night making outlines. Everyone was gone. We'd be making these outlines and sending them out. And we became drug and alcohol experts. And we still are, as you can see.
Yeah.
And,
we were doing research today.
We were doing research.
Well,
and
not
now
too much because we don't have anything.
We
Where's
don't have
the
anything
fucking
here.
bottle?
So what we do now, to get straight to it, is we do search engine optimization, content generation, call it what's
conversion
optimization. We help drug and alcohol facilities get clients. That's what we do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, and another episode, we talk about it in a lot of episodes. You really don't, if right now you're in a position that you're successful in everything, good for you. Good, you've made it. A lot of us start off just straight hustling, doing things, studying, staying up late, joking about stuff, and we never know where it's going to lead.
Yeah. Well, I guess the moral of that story is...
Yo, hold on.
Yes, sir.
You are forgetting one crucial aspect of what you do right now.
Other than
A podcast?
You do the best podcast, the best English-speaking podcast in Latin America.
Yeah. In Latin America. We're going to go there. We go there. Best, yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah, we get
Fucking
Felipe thinks so.
Fucking quote me on it.
Quote you on it.
Quote you on it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is something that it comes natural to me, but I've noticed that it doesn't come natural to everyone in the world because sometimes it's hard to I guess compare yourself to the rest of the world and think like why doesn't everyone think like this?
Yeah.
Is to be open-minded and to not judge books by their covers, right? Like for example, like when I met Joel, I thought that he was just a photographer, artsy type. But I did not know that this guy was a fucking genius with numbers, that he had worked at Rogers Telecom doing data analysis. Like, who the fuck knows that from someone that's carrying a camera and doing interior design, interior photography, to being like a crucial aspect to optimizing a drug and alcohol rehab facility's website so that they can get another $30,000 client for 28 days. Like, that's huge. Imagine how much that means to me. I didn't know that if I didn't grow up or I wasn't raised as being like, you got to be open-minded, that person that looks like they don't know shit or that looks like they're very smart at this thing might be better at something else. You never know. The whole thing is about, I guess, being open-minded, right?
Yeah. And I think the other thing is synergies, like for folks that are coming down here. Listen, you don't have to do things alone. Right? You don't have to do things alone. You want to make a brand of lipstick? Well, maybe somebody knows about marketing and all you know about is the chemicals that go into lipsticks. And I think that really you have to know what you're strong at. Like Andrew, I would say, like, for example, is when I say sales, because sales is huge. As people throw around the world marketing, sales is really huge. Like, I think I'm good to speak to a client, but Andrew will go out there and whether it's truth, bullshit, whatever, he will make that contact. He'll be like, I don't give a fuck if they reject me or not. I'm going after this person. He's like, we're going to make this list. We're going to do whatever. And he goes and he does it. Me, on the other hand, that's not my background. Mine is like, okay, bring him. Let's fucking, let's close him off. Let's figure out what's going on.
I guess to that notion, the only time I bring Joel into the picture is when the client is already bringing us the check, the initial check, and I want to upsell them.
Upsell them on something else.
Take a look at what I got here.
Yeah, it's the truth.
You think I'm good? Wait until you hear this guy talk.
And that's a very, 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 very big part of fucking business and a big part of expansion, a big part of moving to Medellin. If you don't speak Spanish, find somebody that does. And I know a lot of people like, don't ever get into partnerships. Well, I think our partnership has been pretty goddamn successful.
It probably is an anomaly, but it's worked out.
I can vouch for that.
What?
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. It's like Joel and I, we may disagree on
a lot of things.
A fair amount of things. A lot of things.
But it doesn't get between us.
What do we disagree on? We disagree on food.
Whether
for sure.
to fire me or not.
Like I could eat like anything off the ground, and Joel, it has to have a little jerk seasoning and like a little paprika and a little cilantro leaf on top. And then
I like the niceties in life, man. I grew up with a lot of nice things.
If I got a hair or a rock in my food, that's extra protein and
Andrew's
fiber.
like that. So in terms of getting to know us, we're like actually. We have a lot of friggin' crazy things in common in terms of love of music, a lot of, that's it.
Well, and we got a lot of our competitive natures too. Like we're competitive, I guess, with each other. Like
yeah. Since basketball days, by the way, people, for those of you in the Medellin Basketball Association, if you're coming to Medellin and you want to play basketball, please. In Facebook, check out Medellin Basketball Association. It's a group that Andrew and I and Dwayne, who's no longer here, started a long time ago when we were just about, I'd say, 10 people maximum. We used to play into the night.
Well, no, it was just 3 of us at one point.
At one point, it was the 3 one-on-ones. And then we got a few Colombian guys in, and now the group's, I think, at 1,000 people or more.
Yeah.
People come through or whatever. We do a lot of crazy shit. We just, start a lot of things. And I think that I just lost my train of thought about why I was talking about the Medellin opportunity. Basketball.
I've met a lot of people through the Medellin Basketball Association that are business owners, entrepreneurs, students, travelers.
I know what I was saying. The competitive side. Like I remember, so Andrew is a much bigger guy than I am, and he eats about 4 times what I eat. And for a long time, I was the only one that defended Andrew in basketball. It was like, all right, well, you take him. And I'm like, well, I'm not that tall. And so it would be just me against Andrew. And we did this for about a year, man, until other people came in.
And I would just laugh.
You just laugh. Yeah. You just elbow me and I'd fall down on the ground. But I'd get up. That's me because I'm a fighter. Until his brother came, who's even bigger. And then he elbowed me in the chest and made me feel like a smaller man. But honestly, I think it's competitive nature. Like if you're competitive, that's a big thing about being in Medellin. You have to be competitive. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think you have to have some sort of
gusto.
Well, I guess you have to have some sort of
drive or what?
Yeah, a drive. Thank you. Yeah, you'd have to have some sort of drive. Why are you here? Some people are here to retire. Some people are here to vacation. Some people are just here to meet women. Some people are here to explore opportunities. Yeah. So there is a drive. I've noticed that the people that don't have a drive or a goal in mind, they leave and Medellin wasn't that great for me. I mean, it could happen, I guess. But moving forward and into this podcast, Joel, I know that I've seen you dance before. You're a dancing fool. You have actually one of the he's got a video of himself dancing salsa when he was learning salsa that's got over 100,000 views.
They took it down, man.
They took it down?
It's not even on my blog post anymore. I have a blog post called Learning to Dance Salsa in Medellin, and due to copyright infringement.
Oh, because of the song.
Yeah. They took it down. Also, my bachata video, and my teacher doesn't live here anymore for bachata, or else I'd pass that on. But what's the question?
Well, being that we like to go out at night and do crazy things. We're probably going to get into some trouble tonight. But what would you say, describe your nightlife for me in Medellin?
My nightlife is great in Medellin. I love the nightlife in Medellin. But because Andrew called me a dancing fool or gypsy or whatever the word he just called me.
Bro, sometimes we're at the fucking pool hall and you're bouncing around and I know this girl's looking at you and I'm like, why don't I have that natural, what they call
desire?
Here, flow?
Oh, flow.
Yeah, they got the natural flow. And it's probably because I'm not black. Well, no, because I have black
You are.
friends that don't know how to dance.
That's true.
And they
That's
don't
true.
dance.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, I come from a dancing household. My mother was actually a dancer, but Indian dancer. My dad loves to dance, loves music, and we were encouraged to dance. So that's a very Latino thing. My aunt, Auntie Philip, if you're watching this, shout out to you. Dancing, she's just like, let's dance. Chose to dance. So I love dancing. But one of the things, and the video, the real important thing about the video, when I made it, it was in 2011 here when I said, hey, I'm tired of running away, man. I'm tired of when back in 2011, you'd go out here and it would be a big night if you heard a hip hop song.
Yeah.
If Snoop Dogg came on, it would have been we'd be talking about it for a month.
Guys would be dropping it like it's hot.
Dropping it like it's hot. And we talk about it a month there. Yo, remember when they played the Snoop song? So that didn't exist in 2011, man. It was all salsa, reggaeton, bachata wasn't even big. And honestly, I decided, I'm like, listen, I've been traveling down Central America, and I don't want to run away every time they put a salsa song on. So I got I went to a group class, and then I'm like, listen, I got a little bit of money. I got the $10 an hour. So I want to invest $300 into my dancing. So I invested into 30 hours of private dancing. And at that time, everyone, like after those 30 hours, I went out and I started dancing, and everyone wanted to dance with me. They're like, wow, the gringo that dances. And that worked for me. So now it's like, it's paid its dividends. There's more foreigners that come here and dance and whatever else. But I just love dancing. Andrew, if you catch him on a very, very sober day, he'll tell you how much he hates dancing.
No, I don't hate it, but I need some, I guess, exterior motivation.
Cheers to that.
To
So
drink. Yeah, I need to drink.
But nightlife in Medellin,
we call it
honestly,
incentive.
yeah. Medellin nightlife for me has changed a lot because the city has changed a lot. Yeah. I honestly do not want to go out and I love my foreigners. I love meeting you when we're out in a cafe and whatever, but I don't want to go party with a bunch of foreigners. I don't want to feel like I'm in Miami. I don't want to feel like I'm in Toronto. I actually want to feel like I'm in Medellin. Doesn't matter what the music in it could be rock, and I'm not a rocker. But if I'm around a bunch of Colombian people, I feel like this is fucking great.
Right.
I didn't move here to be with foreigners, right? So for us, I think nightlife's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And based on your income, your nightlife changes.
Right.
Back in the day, me and Andrew used to relish the fact that we could buy a half, in Canada we call it a Mickey. You guys call it, like, what's a half bottle?
A media.
A media, but in the US?
Oh, I don't even know.
Okay, so we used to spend about 12,000 pesos at the time, which was about $4 or $5 for that media. And we used to stand at these statues in Parque Lleras, and we would drink, and we'd order a few of those. Everybody would come around because we couldn't afford to even buy a drink in a club at that time.
Yeah,
right.
Or no,
one drink.
Well, we'd buy one drink and then still be sober.
Exactly. So we'd pre-drink, and we'd do that, and then we'd go to any bar around. You could pick anyone that's packed because we just used to look at the lineup, and if it's packed, we'd go in there.
We're going in, yeah.
Because everyone's going to be the same. They've got the same music, generic music, other than Blue nightclub.
Right.
And we go in there, drunk off of our cheap liquor. Now, in Medellin, there's everything that you want. There's a rock bar, house bar, there's gay bars, lesbian bars, whatever, like anything that you want, you can now find in Medellin.
And it's only getting better.
It's only getting better.
It's only going to grow.
So for me, for nightlife personally, I still try to find places where I don't care if there's one or two foreigners, but I don't want to go to Spring Bling 95 or 95 puts me back a few years. 2005. But I want to go to a place where I can still feel like, wow, these are Colombian. I don't want to go where everyone's speaking English.
Yeah. But for to that notion, a lot of people don't want to go to that. But you live in fucking Poblado.
But with that being said, people who are listening to this podcast are probably trying to travel here. Your Spanish is maybe, I'd say 99% of people listening to this is very low or now starting out. And there's tons of places for you where you can meet other foreigners if you don't want to feel lonely and stuff. Like, for example, like go to Vintrash, go to Bolivar,
or language exchanges and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like nightlife, going out.
Yeah.
Like those places, you'll meet other foreigners, and you'll also meet local folks that speak English.
Right.
Andrew, for a very long time, you did language exchanges.
Right.
As you just mentioned. That's an amazing place as a pre-party. Go to a language exchange. And we can put some links in here. If anybody's interested and you've listened this far, talk to us. Andrew is in a lot of contact with like hostel owners and stuff, a language exchange is a perfect place to go out and meet Colombian and foreign folks before you go out to party.
And
you can practice.
a couple episodes ago with your brothers, that was exactly their point too. That dating apps can only get you so far, where if you truly want to socialize. Like that was how do you say the moraleja?
The moral of the story.
The moral of the story was that basically, if you really want to get to know people, get to socialize, and potentially meet someone that's right for you, events is where it's at.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. That's exactly true. And as far as living in Medellin, and I guess there are two types of travelers that are going to come down here. People that are traveling just to visit Medellin, and there are people that are coming back because they traveled and they want to live here. Joel, what would be your advice to someone, either or, just traveling for the first time? Well, we'll start with that one. Someone traveling for the first time in Medellin, what would you tell them?
It's interesting. That answer has changed a lot. Honestly, I would say if you're traveling anywhere,
Okay, well, let me throw a curveball there. And they're a person of color.
be yourself, man, or woman. Like, honestly, don't try to fit in. Don't try to fit in anywhere, right? Come and be yourself 100%. Don't change the way you speak, right? You don't have to speak more proper. If you're ghetto as fuck, be ghetto as fuck, right? There's people that like ghetto as fuck. If you're educated, don't try to sound ghetto as fuck. Be educated. There's people for you. And I think that just come here with an open mind to try things and just, like really you're here to meet, like even if, and here's the thing, a lot of dudes come here to meet girls because they've seen photos and stuff like that. If you focus all your frigging energy on meeting girls, you're not going to have such a great time meeting. I don't mean like if you just want to go out and have sex with people, that's what you're doing. But if you want to meet people and like have any sort of like a deeper connection with the place, come here with like an open mind that you are different, because you are. Be different. And honestly, try to like get into as much as possible. The food, the music, the people, just talk to people. And hey, like real serious traveler tip in Latin America and in Colombia, even in Mexico. I remember like sometimes I'd walk down the road and there'd be elderly people. And they've got this look about them. They've got the age lines and stuff. And you're like, oh shit, they're looking at me weird. I'm going to walk by them. They probably don't want me here. If you say the word hola, it's a woman, it's a man, it's a child. You say the word, just open your fucking mouth and say the word hola. It'll change your goddamn day. Because those people that look so serious will suddenly relax and be like, hola. They'll move from like to hola. And that's something that's like, it's not like in the US and Canada. Because I know in Canada, if you're in an elevator and you go, hey, people be like, oh, fucking creeper, I gotta run. But if you say hi in an elevator, if you just say hi, try it. Maybe if you're at home, just say hi. Maybe they won't respond to you, but I'd say just say hi and start the conversation here. You might end up at a party or like a family get-together a couple hours later. That's the biggest thing. Open your goddamn mouth and speak to people here because they want to be spoken to and they like to speak to you.
Right. Yeah, that's great. And why not try it if you're living in the United States or in Canada? Why not try it there? Say, hey, how are you doing?
What's your advice?
Good morning.
What would you tell them?
To a person of color?
Yeah.
Be yourself. Don't try.
It's like a bootleg. That's like naming your shoe Pumbaa instead of Puma.
Be black.
No, I guess if you're traveling here for the first time, obviously the language thing is a big thing. But for example, we're traveling to fucking Lisbon for the first time. How much fucking Portuguese do you know? Exactly.
Bom dia.
No.
Bom dia.
Yeah. Eu falo português pouquinho. I guess it's more than...
He's using...
I've been doing the Duolingo.
You know, it's a Duolingo in the night.
I do.
Over here.
You know, I've been studying. I've been playing Call of Duty in Portugal.
In Portuguese? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'll see you in fucking June complaining that you said that to 10 ladies and no one paying attention to you.
Bom dia.
Oh, by the way, if you guys play Call of Duty on the mobile cell phone, add me, Andrew Macia.
A what?
Call of Duty on the mobile cell phone.
Nice.
The mobile app.
Yeah.
No, but I guess if you're coming to Colombia for the first time, and whether you're of color or not, one of the first things that I would say is do your research. At least know something about it. Know something about the country or at least the city. One of the big things that stands out, like you could obviously see that I'm wearing shorts, Nirvana t-shirt, and white shoes, and I will go out tonight like this, and I will get into clubs. But notice that I'm not fucking in flip-flops. And I'm not going to like some high-end club either. Yeah. But we'll get into any club really, except for maybe Bolivar if we were to go in
I don't actually wear the shorts because my ankles are really thin, so I can't really pull this off. So I wear like pants that touch the ground. No, that's not.
Yeah. Well, I don't really care. Well,
you don't care because you got them calves and stuff. You've been doing like the cocks. Cool.
But anyway, yeah. So one of the big cultural differences in Medellin as opposed to maybe like Southern California where I come from is that everybody goes out in like flip-flops and shorts. You probably want to avoid that if you're going out to like a restaurant or something like that. But wearing shorts and like a shirt, a t-shirt that's not like hasn't been washed in months. It's probably not.
This is not the beach. Like we're not by the ocean, so why would you?
But
wear
it's hot as fuck, and I don't understand why everyone wears fucking pants out here, and that's another story. And long sleeve shirts. You go on the metro and you see people wearing like a full suit. You're like, wait, why?
Sometimes Jason comes to work in a suit.
But this is not the beach. Like
but it's not also the Antarctic.
Yeah,
it's like I don't understand. It's like I do understand because it's cultural. Like,
well, I think, but back in the day here, global warming is a real thing. Medellin is a prime example of global warming.
It's way hotter than it is.
It's a lot hotter because people talk about a lot of stuff. In 2011, I've never, for the first, I'd say 4 to 5 years, ever been in a cab with air conditioning.
But even by then, it was
already, but I know because when I came here, cab drivers would tell me about how the temperatures changed, and I'm like, this temperature is perfect. I don't want it any colder. This is perfect. I'm coming from Canada. And now I understand what they're saying because all of these guys are souping up their cars with air conditioning units. And before it wasn't like that. So I think you call it back in the day here, Medellin culture is such that you wear a little like the ruana, right? Like the little like a little shawl thing in the night because it gets cold, it gets chilly. Doesn't get chilly anymore.
No,
back in the day, AC used to be a preference, and it's slowly transitioning into being a necessity.
Right.
Yeah. It is a necessity.
It is a necessity.
We have AC.
Yeah. So I guess back to our initial agenda is that if you're coming to Medellin, try to learn something about the people and the culture. There's a lot of stuff written up about it, and it's not like it isn't Narcos or whatever you're watching on Netflix. It's a lot more modern, and just be friendly because everybody else is going to be friendly to you.
Yeah.
Don't be standoffish. Even if you don't speak Spanish, say hola.
Yeah.
And then when people say, you just say no hablo español.
Yeah.
Mucho gusto.
They'll try to speak to you in English.
Learn the basics, like mucho gusto me llamo, whatever your name is, and say no hablo español, mucho gusto me llamo, blah blah blah. That will go a long way, and people will still try to be friendly and be your friends. I guess wrapping up, last question for Joel Duncan, photography.com. Or being Joel on Instagram for all them girls that want to add him and slide into the DMs.
Is it being Joel? Is that it?
Yeah, being Joel Duncan or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's Duncan.
Slide
into nobody slides anywhere.
Stupid at.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment to date in Medellin?
Oh shit! Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what.
Hiring Flippy.
Well, it depends on what you. It depends on what you mean by accomplishment. What I think is the most important thing that has happened this far or what has been
that
the
you've
biggest...
done, that you've built, that you've done. What's been the biggest thing that you've done?
This is the biggest thing that I've done and
Me?
that we've done.
Oh,
You.
thank you.
I've done you. This is the biggest thing. Here why. The reason that this podcast is the biggest thing I have done to date, or we have done to date, and you can speak about it after, is because...
So I was right.
You were right. So the biggest thing that we've done, or I've done to date, is this podcast. The reason is I don't give a shit if we get... It feels good when we get one more follower or one more listener, because I was like, wow, you're fucked up enough to listen to this shit? Great for you. How this started, it's a great point in life because I don't care. I don't care. If tomorrow YouTube says, we're shutting your shit down because you're just too ignorant, ugly, and fucked up, we're closing it down. But we've been doing this for 30 fucking episodes because we don't give a shit. We just want to help people that want to live here, travel here, that do live here, to see a different perspective. And I think it's for the first time in my life that I've done something that did not have any agenda to do with making money.
Legacy.
At all. And I'm talking about...
Legacy. That's how I would describe it. Legacy.
A what?
Legacy.
A legacy? I guess, yeah.
Maybe it's a legacy project. It's something.
Legacy project.
It's a legacy. I mean, it's something that if it continues and it grows bigger, people, we appreciate everyone that listens to this, everyone that subscribes, everyone that leaves a comment, whether you're good or bad. We don't care. We appreciate that because we're interacting with you, and we actually think that what we started off is having some sort of impact, as much as small as it can be. That's our change that we want to see in the world. But I think, like, I don't care. I've taken beautiful photos that went viral and all that shit. It doesn't matter. My mom liked it 9,000 times and it seemed like 9,000 likes. But this here, what we're doing right now is it, man. Like, and I hope we do many more projects like this where we don't give a shit and we just do things, and hopefully the world benefits, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love doing this podcast, and obviously I don't read comments, and I don't really reply to them. So people will message me and stuff, and I always reply. I love that. When people message me, whether it's negative or positive, I always reply. It doesn't matter. But I encourage you to write us, to comment, to give us suggestions, feedback. If you don't like something, if you say, yo, that guitar playing in the beginning was shit, cut it. I'm still going to play the guitar.
Yeah.
I won't listen to you.
Yeah.
But if you've got other comments or criticism, no, I'm just kidding. If you actually do have comments or criticism, feedback, I've got very thick skin. Joel's got thick skin.
I got thinner skin than him. So I was like, some dude on Sam's
he gets
video.
riled up.
I get riled. I'm like, motherfuckers talking about that black guy. That black guy is not funny. Wait. Firstly, this is not the Chris Rock show, so I'm not here to entertain you and be funny. That's the way that I speak. This is the way that I am. You can ask anyone in my life. You can ask my mom, my dad. You can ask Andrew. Those are my three friends. About the way I am, and that's the way I am. If you don't think I'm funny, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling.
Don't encourage people to unsubscribe.
Why not?
We'll get like 0 subscribers.
But who cares? We
Please
still
subscribe.
have my
No,
mom, my dad, your mom, your dad.
I don't even know why we want people to subscribe. It's not like we're making any money off this. But anyway,
That's
Oh
why
wait.
we need people to
By the way,
subscribe.
one of the other things we talk about this podcast, the things we've done, we're doing, and what makes me happy and proud. I'm proud about. Here's what. One of the things that we do, and we've made it our mission to do, is promote local business, local brands, foreigners trying to hustle their ass off here, Colombians trying to hustle. So on that motherfucking note, they're bigger than we are, and we will ever be. But look up parce.co, I think, parce.co. We'll throw it up on there.
.com.
Yeah, we'll like, this is their brand, Parce, and they make clothing with Colombian Medellin sayings on it.
Like slang.
Like slang. I'm wearing it. Andrew, your hat's by...
LaFond, he's an American that started this brand. It's the Medellin, like, spelt really weird, but I love it.
Yeah.
Same with Anton and his Medellin brand as well. Look them up.
And my underwear, which, like, if you guys
Wait, what?
Okay, no, maybe I won't show you the underwear because there's no Medellin underwear. Underwear is not made in this city. But that was just I wanted to see who wanted to say woo. Nobody's ever gonna go woo. But we like to promote
Nobody wants
local
to
brands.
see your smelly penis.
Yo, but we have already make a global impact because we know that there's people deployed in Iraq that listen to this podcast.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for listening.
It could be Andrew's mom that made a fake account. We don't know.
No, those guys are out there listening to us while you guys are deployed. That's amazing. And I hope if you guys come out here, make sure to hit us up. We'll take you where we're at.
Yeah.
We'll take you out and show you a good time.
I'll dance salsa with you.
And he'll
spin you around.
And he'll really take off his pants. On that note, thank you guys for listening. We love you, and please subscribe. Check us out on all the major podcast networks and on YouTube. See you later.
Thank you. If you want to see Andrew in a skinny leopard print thong, please be sure to follow us and listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, or any other major podcast platforms. And Andrew, if they want to see our ugly faces, what should they do?
They could see us on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube for show.